Goodbye, old friend. I love you. I love you. Oh, they may not love me back. Welcome to Hoovie's Garage, the dumbest automotive channel in all of YouTube, and the Hoopty Fleet extravaganza sale is nearing its end. After selling my 500e and my Miata to viewers of this channel, I also had a great result on my no reserve auction on my Daddy Doug's website, Cars and Bids. Now that the money is in the bank and this Phantom is off to its new owner in a few days, I can officially add up the cost of owning this Phantom for 2 years, and the results may surprise you. I may not be as dumb as I think I am. Or am I? But first, going live right now is another no reserve auction on my 1993 Camaro Z28. And since everything went so smooth and easy on Cars and Bids last time, I had no hesitation in listing another car there at no reserve. Cars and Bids caters to enthusiasts of modern cars spanning from the 1980s until today, which is nice since most other online auction sites don't have a specific focus. It also blows the competition away with its ease of use. For example, the application process for listing a car is very simple. It only takes a few minutes to answer some questions and upload a few photos, and the representatives at Cars and Bids are very responsive and helpful. Once you're approved, they assist you in creating a listing that accurately showcases your car in the best possible light. And even Father Douglas himself gives his take on your car with a paragraph or two, and he could potentially use his large social media platform to promote your sale. Buyers are in for a treat as well, as the fees are much lower than traditional auctions and many other online auction sites. Cars and Bids also provides a vehicle history report on every car free of charge, and questions for the seller are separated from the regular peanut gallery comment section to make important information easy to find. I really like that part. So check out my listing linked below on Cars and Bids in the description below, and based on their final sale prices and high percentage sale rate that I've seen on their auctions so far, I think now is a great time to list your car for sale on Cars and Bids. Now, let me give you a tour of my latest listing. Selling at no reserve, so bid early and often, and we'll take this thing for a short drive after my tour, and then we'll go back to saying goodbye to my beloved Phantom, and then we'll discuss what I'm probably going to replace it with. So I had the honor of documenting and footing the bill of bringing this Camaro out of its decade-plus long slumber. The long-time owner, after driving it for many years, he just quit driving it. He parked it in his garage with a cover over it and just left it. It hadn't been registered since 2010. Eventually, it just wouldn't start from sitting for so long, and he decided to sell it. I guess he was selling his house and he needed to get this thing out of the garage. So that's where my dealer buddy Bob came in. He found this car in the garage, brought it out, and then told me about it, and I immediately bought it. And coincidentally, he actually has a listing on Cars and Bids right now as well. He's selling a 1993 Chevy Corvette that's teal. It's very, very pretty. But this Camaro is also spectacularly nice. I could not believe the condition when I saw it. It's like stepping back in time to a nearly new Camaro. Just look at this thing. I hate to say it, but it's in even nicer shape than my Phantom. This thing really doesn't have any nicks or scratches on it. It is just super clean. The only thing that I really noticed that's kind of an eyesore is the light oxidation on the front wheel caps. You can kind of see it here, but otherwise, just amazing condition inside and out. Interior-wise, it's just as impressive and well kept. Just unbelievable, a time capsule. This thing was so much of a time capsule that when I started digging through the glove box, I found MapQuest directions from 2010. The guy took a road trip to Michigan somewhere. And there were mixed CDs in the center console as well. Now, there are two things in this car that aren't stock, and one is the radio. It is a CD player, no auxiliary, and then it has Flowmaster exhaust on it. Oh, there is one more thing. It does have the chassis stiffeners that are bolted to the unibody, and it really makes a huge difference. I haven't driven one of these that has been nice in a long time. They've all been pretty worn out and tired, so I'm not sure if that's making some of the difference, and also the chassis bracing, but the combination of it makes it a really nice car to drive. Now let's look at this engine bay. I have not detailed it at all. This is just how it came. Once again, super, super clean LT1. We did a lot of work to this. If you look in the listing on Cars and Bids, a lot of the old leaks from a car from sitting have been fixed. The water pump as well, because that's kind of notorious to getting down and leaking on the OptiSpark and messing all that up. The only thing showing wear is the hood insulation, but otherwise just a really honest, well-kept engine bay that runs very well. let's take it for a drive. Now, a lot of people prefer the later Camaros because it comes with the LS engine rather than this LT1, but there's nothing wrong with an LT1. It's got plenty of power, and personally, I like the way the nose looks better on the older Camaros than the later ones. They were the 60 right there. Just with ease. You take a turn pretty well. I probably shouldn't be dogging it this much for a sale video, but it's just so happy. This thing drives great. Why not one more pull? So bit early, bit often on my 93 Camaro. Now we'll go back to the garage and say goodbye to the Phantom. So let's talk about the sales price of this Phantom. After a week of very active bidding, it sold for $69,696. Nice. Now, that makes it the cheapest Phantom in the USA. If you look at all the other Phantoms for sale in the country right now that are running and driving, well, and a clean title, this was the cheapest. Now, I expected it to sell for somewhere around $70,000 to $75,000, so we were close enough at $69,696. Nice, and I'm sure the new owner is very happy because new, this thing cost $400,000. Another thing I want to talk about is the CarMax sales figure, which was $53,000. That was the offer I got from CarMax last year, which was pretty accurate as well. They were going to bid about 15% below wholesale what they thought this Phantom would sell at a wholesale auction. And when you looked online, they were selling for around 60, low 60s. And that's Phantoms that are at a wholesale auction. I imagine most that are at a wholesale auction are going to need a lot of work, a lot of reconditioning to be retail ready, and that's why the prices are very low. You look at most Phantoms for sale online, they're still in the high 70s, low 80s, and above. So a fair result in my opinion, and I am losing a small fortune on this Phantom, but when you really add it up and compare it to other vehicles, it's not nearly as bad as it looks. And we'll go over the final tally inside the Phantom, inside its back office. It'll be the last time I sit in the back office of this Phantom. It's sad. Oh, this is so sad. I can't do any more Taco Bell lunches in the back of my Phantom with the lunch trays, but I figured back here was the perfect place to go over everything. Brought my laptop because there's no way I'm going to remember all these numbers. So let's start with the purchase price. I bought this Phantom for $83,000, which is way, way less than new, but it did need a lot of work. While it was being sold at a Rolls-Royce dealership, a very fancy Rolls-Royce dealership, it was a consignment. It wasn't one of their retail cars, so they didn't recondition it to bring it up to any kind of standard at all. It needed a lot of work. I drove it back from Chicago to Wichita, Kansas, okay, but it did have a lot of problems. The check engine light was on, the engine was misfiring, the suspension had an error, and there were plenty of other little odds and ends, like the driver's side window didn't work at all. So the first initial sorting out was pretty expensive. It cost me $3,191.49. It's a lot of money, and I wasn't done yet. The wheels, I had to replace them because they were built to take these PAX tires, these Michelin PAX tires that were run flats that Michelin really doesn't make or sell anymore, or they do, well, they're really, really hard to find. So I needed to upgrade. That's why you see so many Phantoms that have aftermarket wheels on them, because they can't find a replacement. I didn't want to do that. So I sourced some newer Rolls-Royce wheels, and that cost me $4,350. And then when they got in, they were the wrong size tires. They were too small, so I had to spend another $1,474 on tires. That's a lot. But then the car rewarded me with a pretty trouble-free, about a year before I started to notice a coolant leak. And this was a pretty major coolant leak, a common BMW V12 thing. This is basically a BMW engine on the hood, where the pipe underneath the intake needed to be replaced, the coolant crossover pipe. I also did a full tune-up while the whole intake was off, all the plugs and wires. Did a water pump as well, because the water pump pulley, which we initially thought was the culprit, it was pretty scratchy and bad as well. That cost me $2,616.46. Now, initially when I bought this car, I knew it had a slight oil leak, and over time that oil leak got a little worse. By the time I had taken it to CarMax to get that appraisal, I looked underneath and it looked pretty oily. It actually surprised me. So I had to fix another very common BMW leak on this thing, the timing chain cover. That cost me $1,285.09. So not counting tax, tags, insurance, the grand total, how much it cost me to own this Phantom, was $95,917.10. And since I sold it for $69,696, nice. That means I lost $26,221.10 to own and drive this Phantom for about 2 years. That sounds like a lot of money, and it is a lot of money. It's more than most of the hoopties in my hoopty fleet. But when you add it all up and you look at other luxury cars, it was actually pretty cheap to own. Yeah, when you think about it logically, you can actually own one of these for less than, say, a new S-Class lease. I looked up an S-Class lease. They're advertising it right now for $9,000 down and $1,000 a month. Whereas this car with no money down, if you divide that $26,000 divided by 24 months or 2 years, I only paid $1,092 for this Phantom. So it was $10,000 less or more to own this Phantom for 2 years than a new S-Class. Same with buying it outright. There's tons of depreciation with a new S-Class or a 7 Series, whereas this thing already heavily depreciated. I did lose some money in depreciation, I suppose, because I didn't add more than, say, 15,000 miles on this car. But I suspect if I kept this thing for another 2 years, I don't think it would depreciate another $20,000. I'd spent a lot of money reconditioning it, and it did lose some value, but that seems to be slowing down a lot. So the next owner of this Phantom, I doubt he's going to lose very much money. He'll have to spend a few thousand a year on maintenance more than likely, but I doubt he's going to see very much depreciation. So owning a Rolls-Royce Phantom can really make sense. And when I'm thinking about replacements, I'm trying to think of something that will also make sense and make me look kind of smart, a car that I can own for a while, even though it's really expensive, and not lose all that much money. So now we'll step back outside of the office and we'll go over my top choices right now. My first choice is kind of an obvious one, the Rolls-Royce Phantom drop head. That's what I thought I was going to do when I sold this thing, is go with the convertible version of this very car, but I mean, I've already kind of been there, done that. Plus, I have a lot of European luxury sedans, so I really don't need another one, although that is one of my dream cars. And you can buy one for under $150,000, and I doubt they're going to lose very much money because they don't even make the Rolls-Royce Phantom drop head anymore. So it's another good choice. I'm going to go through all these, and you guys can help me in the comment section decide which one you think would be the best choice. The second one is the Ford GT 2005-2006. I've always wanted one. It's one of my dream cars, but unfortunately, Doug DeMuro has already bought one. Stradman already bought one and sold one, I think. So a lot of people are going to say no because, well, Daddy Doug already has one, which, I mean, I get, but it's just such a great car. It is one of the best cars that I have ever driven. But they are kind of expensive. It's going to be hard to find one for under $200,000. That's the most money I've ever spent on a car by double, so it's a crazy purchase, but I doubt it's going to lose money because they're steadily gaining in value. The next one on the list is another expensive one, the Mercedes SLR McLaren. I drove one of these in 2008 when I was a wee young whippersnapper, and it's just sort of stuck in my head ever since. I think they're amazing cars. I think they're undervalued. They were new, like $500,000, and now you can buy one for $200,000. And I don't think they're going to stay that way forever because it was the fastest automatic car in the world at the time, faster than many of the hypercars that are worth tons of money, like the Carrera GT and some others. But it is a very expensive car, and the maintenance and parts are going to be very expensive. So the more reasonable choice would be the SLS AMG, and I got to go to Europe for the first time as a college graduation gift to Stuttgart in Germany right when these were coming out. There was a whole row of them going out on trucks to be shipped overseas, and I just think they're awesome cars. Of course, it'd be the one with the gull wing doors. It's a much more reasonable choice. You can find one of those for, you know, $120,000 to $150,000. And while I don't think that they will go way up in value because I made a lot of them, I don't think they're going to depreciate either. So that's my list. Help me narrow it down. Which one you think I should get? There's going to be plenty of hoopties going in and out as well. So don't worry if you think I'm getting too fancy. I'm really not. And thank you for watching. Really, really thank you for watching, because without you, I couldn't have afforded this Phantom for the last 2 years, and I wouldn't have been brave enough to buy it without you all watching my silly YouTube channel. And this was the first car to really go big and explode views-wise to where I could keep going and going with more and more hoopty purchases. So I really am appreciative of you guys and appreciative of what this car's done for me, this Phantom. I'm very sad to see it go. Goodbye, old friend. I love you. I love you. Oh, it may not love me back.